Hi, can everybody hear me? Yeah, great. Okay, so as introduced, my name is Ronan Wright. I'm the Regional Academic Coordinator working together with Jacques in the Western Cape region. So welcome again. I'm over welcome now. And as Mr. A said, he's Mr. A, and students know me sometimes as Miss B. So we aim. Okay, so just to give you an overview of the regional support offering that we have, you have been introduced to various departments. We've got a counseling and career development section headed by Becky Cunningham. We've got library services headed by Geraldine Pere. Our digital learning support, which is actually digital learning advisors, senior and title, and then we've got the academic reading and writing that is hosted by the Writing Centre. That is mainly Ralph and myself that are responsible for that. So I'll give you the next slide. Before we start, I just want to give you an overview of what is available to you as students from the counselling and career development section. And this is very important. As John has mentioned, when you are doing your honours, you eventually go into masters, you are going to need some form of psychosocial support. It is very tough studying and working, managing your life, doing etc., and not having these support services available to you. And these are free. They're free services. You can come in person if you want to. You can even do them online with one of our counsellors and psychologists. Dr. Camilla is a registered educational psychologist, so she is very well versed in this section. So in terms of individual counselling, I have mentioned that you can book one-on-one sessions with a psychologist. They provide you with support for your academic stress, anxiety, depression, and burnout. Because when you are busy working on doing your honours, you're also doing coursework. And some of you have maybe overcommitted, and now you don't know how to manage your time, etc. like that. And that is where she can give the strategies to be able to be how to plan your studies, how to balance your work, life, and studies. Okay, they also address the imposter syndrome and self-doubt, and this comes through a lot with students as they progress in their academic journey, particularly when you get to masters, you feel that you're not adequate, you don't know how you got here. That is what imposter syndrome is. So that is just where they can help you to get out of that rut, help you to realize that you are going to be there for a reason. You got there, you have passed your degree, your honours, eventually a master's and PhD. And then life happens, so they also provide you with grief and bereavement counselling. So if there's a loss or any trauma, going through a traumatic experience like a course, they are there to give you any support in that regard. In terms of group therapy and peer support, and I think Dr. Sander will be speaking to you about that as well, it is important that you link up with someone. Even if that isn't a study buddy, but somebody that can just give you that motivational push. I'm now currently a PhD candidate. I did my master's with Lisa. And what got me through my master's, I did a course with master's, which was quite tough, was having that somebody that I could call, how are you feeling? I'm feeling down. They understand, and they just give you that motivation, give you that good. So that is what they do. They provide you with, they will have support groups and get you guys connected. So, and it just helps you to work on your mental health and also people in serious. Then I do have peer discussion sessions for motivation, stress management, depression, and emotional well-being. We have mentioned some psycho-educational groups that will address study challenges, executive growth. And then there's also support groups on balancing studies and personal responsibilities, which I have mentioned. And then the work-study balance, supporting students who are employability. So this is very good that you go and do a little study plan with you and how you can effectively manage your time so that you don't reach that burnout point. And then I have spoken about the grief and bereavement. They do individual and also group therapy. If, for example, you are working on a MBL project, or you're working on a group project, and some of your classmates passes away, then everything is not there to support you and your whole group. In terms of crisis intervention and trauma support, there is immediate psychological support for students in distress. There's also trauma-informed counselling at first academic crisis. And then there is the suicide prevention. I know actually my master, I've got it sometimes, I've got every month. So that was, it's very good to when you are feeling. Don't get to that place beyond when you are not. And then the stress, anxiety, and support groups. Remember, we do provide you with an educational psychologist. If there's anything further and there needs to be a referral made, we do have clinical psychologists available as well. But they do provide you with evidence-based techniques to manage stress, anxiety, and depression. They also provide you with mindfulness and relaxation and breathing exercises. There's also cognitive behavioral strategies to reframe your academic pressures. And then obviously strategies for motivation, which is very important and focus. And then also how to manage perfectionism and procrastination. One of the things that students also go through is that trying to be perfect, trying to get that 100%, and if you don't attain it, you feel like you've got a setback. So this is also to manage your expectations. And then they also assist you with developing resilience and coping mechanisms when you do reach those academic setbacks. You might not get positive feedback from the supervisor, for example, and you don't know how to deal with that feedback, and then they can also just assist you with strategies on how to deal with those setbacks. How would you go to the next slide? So I'm not going to go through all the other slides that Dr. Camila has provided. We will email these slides to you. She's just given a little bit more of an overview. But tell me, you can skip another one. So these are the how you can book sessions with the counsellors. So they do have to book a consultation with the counsellor. There is the time URL. If you've got a phone, you want to take a picture, you're more than welcome to. We do have an email address for them as well. It's cptcounselling@unita.ac.za, and they can give you, as we mentioned, in-person and online support. So you can reach out to any of the counsellors by following that tiny URL, or write an email to CPT counselling. Just maybe a few minutes. If they are not able to support you, as mentioned, they will refer you to the relevant person that can support you. Okay. And very important in the red there, all the services are confidential. They are bound by the HCSA. And it's no cost to any students at UNISA. Okay, in terms of the digital learning support that we have, I don't know if you can see it or if you can just get to one of the screens that are posted to you, just have a look. There's three very important sites that you need to be aware of. We've got the Western Cape Student Support Portal, which is that first one in the corner there. We've got a page on itself specifically for postgraduate studies. So I will go there just now. Then we've got the co-curricular activities, which is little programs or courses that you can do, and you will get a co-curricular report card that you can add to your CV. So there are different courses that you can do. You can see the ones there that are got in the screenshot. There's one for still using my modules and my visa. You are probably okay with that now, but there are other courses. So please go and have a look at that. I will send, Jacques will be sending out a postgraduate newsletter, and we will also give you all of these addresses. But just one for the co-curricular activities, it's ADOPH. So you just want to type that somewhere, specifically we'll always mention it, send you a newsletter and also this presentation with all the links, ADOPH@unisa.ac.za. Then there's two MOOCs that are very beneficial to postgraduates and honours, masters, and PhD students. So one is the academic integrity fundamentals that Dr. Sander and Dr. Majida will speak to you about. The importance of academic integrity, but there is a course that you can also go and do. So that is very important. It is offered by the College of Graduate Studies, and the recent one is the 2026 one that has been uploaded onto this site. And then there is the advanced skills in Microsoft Word. Now this one is, if you're going into writing a research report, you're eventually going to go into your master's, you're going to go into a PhD. It is actually a dissertation toolkit. It shows you how to create the table of contents, how to have Roman numerals on the first couple of pages, then you have to go and do normal numbering. How to set up footnotes, how to do a bibliography, your references, etc. So it is really the go-to if you're doing your honours reports as well as your Masters and PhD. So I'm going to ask Tara just to show the live page of the digital learning of the Western Cape Student Support Portal, just so that you can see what it looks like. It's very simple. You log into My Modules as you usually do with your MyUnisa account and your MyUnisa email, MyUnisa username and your password. You'll then click on the My Modules drop-down and go to Western Cape region. If you do not see the Western Cape region, please email us. I will give you an email address for CTN sites. So you remember the one with CPT counseling, now the one for the portal, and Jacques and myself is CTN sites at UNISA.oc.za. And we will add you to the portal. So just make sure that you do have access to the Western Cape. And we'll then open up our Western Cape Student Support site, give you a little introduction about us, and then so I will get this down a little bit more. This is just the home page, the landing page. There we've got all the important email addresses on this site. So I'm going to stop there, pause there. If you've got your cameras open, take a picture so that you can have it close to you. These are all the important email addresses for the Cape Town office, basically. So student admin and funding is capetown@unisa.ac.za. Library services, CTN Live. Us at the facilitation of learning is CTN SAT, and then counseling CPT class. Now we can go down to the postgraduate website. These are just the different cells. He's just got it open in the view that we can see. There is the postgraduate support site. So it just gives a little bit of an overview, but the main thing that you want to see is the schedule. Because Wasima and Leslie will be doing workshops with you, where you can access the workshop schedule. I'll start showing some why. So if you click on that link, events, it should have just shown the one that does opens for the postgraduate students. But if you click on the button that says events, workshops, and class schedule, it will open up everything that is scheduled at online or at the campus. So then you can see we've got today's orientation, and it's given the venue. But I'm just going to show you the next one, where it will say, for example, so you're going off the class. Okay, so there where it says Saturday, you can see there's a class happening. It's offered by Midlands Region and join session. So this is where you get the link, the Teams link to join all these sessions that we are offering. Okay, so we do have the first sessions for Leslie starting on time. You can just help me on Monday.
Monday.
Monday, and Sima is also doing some sessions, but that is not for honest. For all the sessions, there is a postgraduate writer circle, and that's for masters and doctoral students. And there is to join. Tom, when is the PGDip honor sessions?
On Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
There.
So there will be the link to join that session. These sessions are hosted in the evenings from 6 to 8. So it doesn't clash with working times and stuff like that. Recordings are not available. The links to those recordings will be shared with you. So please do make sure make use of these sessions as well. This is very, very good. So it's Wasima. They are very good about these students. Dr. Somebody can go back to the presentation. Go to the next slide. These are just the different websites that I was speaking to you about earlier. So the UNISA Western Cape Student Support site, you can just take a picture of this, or you can scan it in. It's bit.unisa.wc. Then the My Student Skill Hub, the one for ADOBH, where you get the co-curricular activities, and also the two-MOOC celebration. That is www.adobh.unisa.ac.za. And then to book a consultation with Sibu or Tabo for any digital support, in terms of you can't access your Office 365, you can't link a document, you don't know how to merge your PDFs together, all of that kind of stuff. You can book a consultation with them, and there is the QR code as well. I didn't have any, it's just got a funny number at the end, unfortunately. So I'm just going to pause. Has everybody got a picture of it? You're happy? Okay. I'm going to the next one. Okay, and that's where I'm going to stop and hand over to the Lumina that will be discussing the support of the library.
Well, there's a bunch of emails and content. I'm just wondering if someone is a resource side and if they want to see anything from someone to have the avoid contact.
We do have the SAB helpline, which takes you to the South African Depression and Society group. And that is available on all the email contacts for us, not solely for them. So that was, I don't have SAB. Thank you.
Input with many books and prisoner and with the books and we have the necessary skills in order to assist undergraduate students and postgraduate students. So what can I offer? I just simple one slide. Small the font is small. So what we offer is training. We have training from Tuesdays to Thursdays. It is basic training for undergraduate students. And we sometimes do coach or present during the post-graduate presentations. Michelle Williams is my colleague. She usually do the presentations then some of the ones. Yeah, and so the library has skills to guide you when you come to the library. You can also email us if you need information about articles and e-reserves and etc. But what we offer is we offer you training and data styling, as I said. So we use the library guides. That is your first point of reference that you would have to go to. If you go on the website, sorry, go to go to iReserve. Once you get there, you can click on library. Once you get online, you can have the postgraduate students. It's a section just under, it's all the documents, really. We will find postgraduate student services. We get there. You will see all the information about what they have been offered and how we should be all the data processes. But if you enter, what is also useful is the library guides. Library guides is a library guides where it is subject specific. Where you can contact your personal librarian, you can get the email address there. When you go on your subject field, for instance, if you're doing law, you go down the list and go to law. Once you're in law, you will see that there is a personal librarian that you can email if you need assistance. And we also give, for instance, literature search services. We have a number of electronic databases. They consist of citations as well and full text articles. We also will teach you how to use or how to search for books. For instance, there is books that is on Summits. Summits is a database that consists of all everything like thesis presentations, newspaper articles, journal articles, reports, etc. and X as well. Our Summits is the huge database, and when you click on a specific database, like for instance on the last all the law resources will be in that. So you can if you need help, access or contact your personal librarian, but we are also there too. We are open from 8 to 4 Monday to Fridays. We also have institutional support repository with the thesis and discussion on. I don't know if you are familiar with it. And then there is research articles and conference purpose and procedures under it, and then also special materials and other digital assets that you can access from it. And then there's the UNICEF library digital collection. We find that e-journals, everything that's e is online, so it's electronic, and there's e-journals, e-resources, e-reserves, and the recommendations. You can also ask for literature search. Then a librarian will do for you on literature search in a field, and I'm not to give to it. Thank you so much. Even evidence is CTM, that show for time. But CTM, online. Actually, the cyber basis. And we are 4.5 million.
Right, so let us start with academic reading writing workshops. Just note one that our email addresses and will receive our presentations on my email account. And all of our email addresses will be in that presentations, right? Let's look at academic reading writing support. So part of our job here at UNISA is we want to see you as a student that takes value of our services as well as a student that's successful. And because we do know that postgraduate reading and writing is usually a very it's a demanding cognitive ability because you need to think in an instant and you need to be able to make a decision. Especially when you get your assignment, but you need to be able to perform. And part of our consultation is very much student focused or student centered. And I just want to give you an indication of how we did this. So, in order for you to understand, you need to be able to, I would say, to know the intent of your research or the intent of your assignment. And a lot of students, they don't make it or they go sub 60% because they misunderstood what the lecture was. And feedback can it's hard to receive feedback. For us, it's very difficult to get feedback on publications, on chapters, on a lot of that. Because it burns, especially if you're a perfectionist, right? What is important is you need to be able to recognize your verbs, for example. If someone asks you to discuss something, it needs to be discussive, enough. If they ask you to argue, it needs to be argumentative. Persuade. If they ask you to comment, you need to take a position. Right? So what the lecture wants, it's not, for example, if they ask you to critique something, it's not social critique by looking at it negatively. You need to look at the good, the bad, you consolidate it, bring together, and to come up with your stance to it. But one thing that I've realized is this also, I was sitting with a PhD student and she is going to the ethics again and again. And this, I think, comes from an undergraduate stuff on this. And she was sitting with it and she doesn't know. She didn't know what she did wrong. And the lecturer kept on saying it's you write it like it's on master's level. It's too descriptive entirely time. And she says, but I don't know. The teacher says, I wanted to make it analytical. Now she's sitting out on making analytical. With that, she put a consultation, right? So I took off my glasses. I said to her, I will give it a descriptive account or just describe my houses. So we got something control in it. So I asked her, what is a song? What is it like? What are the components? So it's leaders, the ages, or whatever. So even if you can see it kind of describe. So it paints a picture of it's focusing on the facts and the observations as well as the pictures of my glasses. Then I said, now I want you to analyze it. So now you're going to ask yourself, so what and why? So why was it designed this way? Right? Why was it designed that way? How does it function? And what is the significance? So to be analytical is when you break your assignment proposal into Computers for understanding, we look at the causes, the relationships, as well as the implications. And I think that that is something that we as postgraduate students need to understand. We should give the nature of what they want, right? We can think about all things. So, as part of the consultations and the workshops, we, what is warranted within your assignment? We can study computer science, we can study human science, psychology, anthropology, of all these ologies, right? We are able to say to the lecturer, listen here, this is the work you see, and I want you to be able to mark it and pass it. Can I just go to the new screen? Right, so part of the successes, I think, what assists a lot of students with the postgraduate, this comes from, you know, I've been working with postgraduates since 2005. So I can tell you in the last, they all struggle with time management and it goes to student assignments. The discipline, you need to be able to have discipline, resilience and perseverance. Yes, you are going to get feedback. It is going to burn and it's going to hurt your heart, right? But you are here to make success. You take it from the people that came before you. So there's also some critical thinking elements, such skills that you need to acquire and that you can. If people can, then you also do it, right? And then I always say to people, once coming to postgraduate, you get all these you know, comments and this is not right, that's not right, that's your son, right? So as part of the legal, I've involved you to take care of yourself. Take care of yourself and reach out. There's also support networks and collaboration. People, I'm telling you, group work is a wonderful thing in the distance. But group work can cause disciplinary pain in case it gets this wrong. Because all the work will sound all the same and it's going to hurt, right? In process. You need to be agile. You need to, you know, embark on other courses as well to use themselves, as well as nurturing the work-study balance. And I always say to students, whatever someone is doing, either someone is recommending to you, do it like that, but always add the +1. Always do something a little bit better than the base person, right? I'm not going to say plagiarize +1 and plagiarize a little bit better. I'm saying to you, please people, just be conscious of this entire process and know that it's going to be the hyphen between the undergraduate as well as the master's degree. Probably slide, please. Right, so that concludes the presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just hand over to our student engagement and quality assurance, Mr. Fieldy, as well as Professor Tibulee. Are they here? Not here. Right, so we're going to park that one. And then I'm going to invite someone that is, I think he's a great friend because we always meet at conferences. But he's also a person with a kind heart. If you reach, you know, you listen, you kind of wait for responses, but you never wait for response. Dr. Tony Machila, can you just come to the front? And please,
send me these two. Which one is working now? Oh, that working. Okay. I have to open it. I can't remember. Is that what's that? Is that the one? What my new price? That other one is.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Chair. This one is for the second session for when we will be having the engagement with you. And it's fine. I deliberately did not forward the slides for this session. Because today it's all about engagement and that correctness that my colleagues talked about. So I will forward the slides and we'll get access to it. But I am going to do playing different things. Thanks again for listening or inviting us to this wonderful organization. You have been doing this for years online. And it's nice to meet, the student face to face. I mean, Jack talked about breaking that distance. And if you read the works of Michael Moore, he talks about this intersectional distance. It's a problem in education. You as honest students, country students, we have registered at UNISA, knowing very well that it is distance education, but it's hard. It's not easy. And I think we need to give a round of applause to Western Cape, for cutting that distance. So I think they deserve this long, loud round of applause. And I'm saying that not because I'm biased, but I've been working with them. And this is something that they do differently, supporting postgraduate students. In other regions, and the one that I used to work for, which I will not say which one, there used to be a lot of support for undergraduate students, but postgraduate students have been struggling. And Ms. B, she received an award, Vice Principal's Award this year. So, I mean, that alone tells you a lot about what this region is doing. So I think she also deserves on behalf of the team. So yeah, you can see that I'm not biased. They are really doing a good job and you need to just abuse them, Yeah. So yeah, I talked about more distance education, how the strategies that are there to break it geographically, as well as students to the practitioners and so on. And also, if you read the work of Taylor, talking about this distance education places, and we are in the fifth one. And in the Western Cape, they have, there's a lot of things regarding the technologies that are there. So make sure that you attend our workshops, especially as to graduate students. They will be helpful. I can here talk briefly about the research process, but before. And I just want you to just take them through my minister calendar. I am from College of Graduate Studies, so it will be just this week. I don't show you some of the research support interventions that we have for you as honors student and postgraduate student. There will be a lot of workshops that are there in the university. Yours, the stress that you need to have, which one is very, but I'm assuring you there's a lot of support. This week alone, we're having 3 to 4 workshops. From Tuesday, we have 8 workshops that are running up until next week Friday. And so Karen will also address that. Because we know that you are using AI, but we just want you to use them responsibly. And for you to also apply that critical thinking skills that talk about. So I think you can show them the calendar, how to get to the calendar. That is one option where you will see all these workshops and support interventions that are under. So those who are attaching can go to my visa. If you don't know what my visa is, there are workshops in the record. So none of the time you will see all these interventions that are in that you can access. And last thing, can you go to the College of Graduate Studies website?
Yeah, go to the College of Graduate Studies website.
I'm doing this delivery so that they can also see step by step how to if you go into the College of Graduate Studies,
Yes.
from School of Interbusiness. So College of Graduate Studies is different compared to other colleges. We don't have teaching and we don't have modules. Ours is to support you with this. We have, we have workshops. We have workshops around the research proposal. Some of you honors postgraduate diploma, you have other modules, but then you will have the research proposal modules. Others will have research support module. There is a lot of work because there is a lot of work. And Jack talked about time management. It is a problem. And what I'm going to do now, because this is a session where you need to engage with fellow students. I'm going to do it like that. So I just want to maybe
It is not listing. Research notes.
come up with the content. Those who are doing maybe one for
There's program.
one for
Yeah.
research report. Any volunteers? I mean, you will never get a chance like this. You only have to do and in the search, you are never thank you, Mr. A. You see how they are taking care of people. So yeah, feel free. There's no right or wrong, but we are here, to help you. So I just want us to do it practically. Yeah, this is College of Graduate Studies website. There is a lot of interventions and academic. It's not a challenge. You know that
That's why did you send?
I think it is a lot of support. There are then around schools, and if you can go to research support, the support and then
This
The third one, top.
yeah, so this is also another page. The activity workshop, we have STEM support. So for those of you who are doing quantitative research, there's a lot of we have a dedicated statistician that can help you, to do questionnaire, everything related up until analysis and setting your results, this is my hypothesis. All this all that process. We also have support for those who are doing qualitative research, and we run qualitative data analysis workshops using Atlas, of course. So this is a free license as long as you are registered. Equal honor students, the university will give you access to Atlas TI. For those who are being fancy, will give you access to SPSS. Very expensive programs, but free, to users students. So make sure that you access them and you attend this workshop so that you can see and know how to use them. I'm going to post research, training program. So and there is workshops include workshops include on the left there. And that
Yeah, that one.
so yes, that's April 1. So every month we update this website. We post all the workshops that we will be hosting for honors, masters, and so on. The dates and times, some morning, evening, some during the day. But then if you cannot attend them, we also have the YouTube channel where we edit and post all these workshops that we have, because we are doing them online. So you know that some of you are waiting, some of you are entrepreneurs and so on. Sometimes you don't have time during the day, so you can always visit the YouTube channel and access those workshops. For the past 6 years or so, there is a lot of workshops that are there that you can access. Now, coming to what I'm supposed to do, talking about the research, the report, what it looks like, the mini thesis, and so on. Just waiting for those two people to the volunteers. So that's one has to do practical. And I believe it will also help others. You know? They talk about this in imposter syndrome, so let's just deal with it. Or should I choose anyone? Anyone? Any volunteer?
Mr. I can choose.
Okay, each one said, are you registered with? Who's registered for a second proposal notice? One. And can come forward. Can you turn to the front? Sorry. Thanks again. Let's start with the basic. Program are you registered for, and module is in the research proposal. Research report.
No, I'm blanking out here, and I think it's because of the audience. But I think it's I've got research methodology, and then I've got research project in business management.
Okay. Yeah, especially
I do that.
so you see, none of them. You are not so there's no really. So let us go through the research report. And Jack talk about something very important, ethical clearance. So usually in most of honors modules, they will give you some topics. And you have to choose topic. Sometimes they will allow you to do your own project. But if you are doing your own project, you need to do ethical clearance, which will take time. It's something that you don't have. You know? And I know a lot of you are ambitious, you want to be researchers and do good research, but sometimes it's easier to choose a project whereby that project is clear and yours is just to expand more on what you've been given. And first, the research report, with distinction. So first and first, planning. You need to plan. So, and I can see that you are not familiar with the content of the book. So, in your tutorial letters, you need to go and read about that motion. There are outlines and everything. Just make time and read so that you understand what that module is all about. And then on the research report, just look also on the outcome of the report. And by doing that, you will gauge how much time you will need for that research report. I believe the module, or is it a thing? It's a module. And we are already in April. And POE, when is June? January. Yes. So, and I know it carries a lot of credit. So, it carries a lot of credit because it's a lot of credit. So make sure that you see. You might be in other modules, you might be assigned to a supervisor. Make sure that you develop a relationship with the supervisor. It's not easy. Supervisors are also people that are busy. You might be trying to call Dr. Karen, but she's here, so you need to plan. But make sure that you have that relationship with the supervisor. It will make your life easier. At times, it might not be possible to have that close relationship that you want, but it's fine because it's something that you need to work on. And it will also help you when they give you feedback because you won't take it personal. They want you to pass. So first, planning. Just gauge everything and make sure that know how much time it will need from you to execute that module for you to pass. Yes.
How much time we then in one of our modules, we can make 15 hours a week. That's one module. It's research report, which you advise that
Okay, very good question. How those tutorial letters they break it down? Say this is a 120 credit, we need so many hours and so on and so on. But we are different. And in so we are mature students. Some of you have families, husband, wives, kids, and so on. You are working and so on. So it might not apply to your context. And that's why they were talking about counseling unit. You can go there and they will make a nice template for you, based on your commitment and so on. So I am encouraging you to visit the counseling department. They'll sit down with you and check everything, that you're doing, and they will advise you. So it will be a kind of management plan, considering other modules that you add. So this is one thing that you need to do before the end of the school. That's number one. Make sure that you have time management plan, and it will help you. Because at times when things are open, you will push fast. When things are hectic, you know that you slow down, but then you will manage. Thanks. So that's number one. Number two, in that report, there'll always, or sometimes be, especially social sciences and so on, there'll be this problem statement. There'll be a reason why you have to do that specific research. And maybe I need to ask you, what is research? What you're doing research, what is research? Sometimes you hear other people saying, I'll do research, I look at the newspaper, I look at the Google, and so on. Another topic for another day. So what is research? Study of knowledge. So you are studying knowledge, searching and researching and so on, using, of course, the library. There's no way you get research, you can be short of articles, books, and so on. We are the biggest university in Africa, the biggest in the Southern Hemisphere. So none of material that are there. There's no way. Your stress should be which material should I use, but you should not struggle. So make sure you understand why we are doing that particular project. There will be a complete business, and you will need this scientific steps, to solve that particular problem. At times they will help you, or Dr. Karen will help you and give you a tentative topic, and they will give you a background.
Student outside.
They are nice tools, especially in grades like the cleaners and so on. We'll do other workshops for you, whereby you might have some idea and you just select it and check what other people are saying. There's a lot of tools that you can use, if you get stuck. So just expand on that background. You need to refine your aims and objectives. They'll also give you, unlike in masters and PhD, they'll also give you the theories that you can use. But you need to go deep and read on those theories and see how you can align them with your aims and objectives. The next month, we will be starting the proposal writing workshops at CGS. So if you have time, I encourage you to attend. They will be posted on that webpage. But we always share them with Western Cape, and I know they are also doing some interventions. And for those who are doing research and support, there are also interventions that we do. Your literature review, the type of literature review that you can do, checking what other scholars have done. Some students will say, I have this idea, I'm not plagiarizing, this is my idea. But you need to check what other people have done and cite them and so on. Jack talked a lot about, critically looking at those things. And then what we do, we drill on methodology. You need to look at, especially those in social science, at the paradigms. Which paradigm are you using? The lenses in which you are getting into your research. If now we are going out of this room and Jack is wearing his glasses and I take my sunglasses, we are going into the same thing, but then our views will be different. So you need to understand those little components, your population, your sampling, how you are going to analyze, and so on. So it is a lot to take in, but what I want to say is that you need to understand the module, the outcomes, very important, time management, and I think by attending the workshops, we will be familiar with all these technical terminologies and so on, and it will be useful. You will pass that module. I will get into the problems, the challenges. There is a session that I will be facilitating with Dr. Karen, checking on the challenges that you are having as postgraduate, as honor students, from transitioning, what it means to be a postgraduate student, the expectation that are there, your time management issues, and so on. This distance, so we will be unpacking that, and it will be engagement. We want to really talk to you. So the reason why I was calling you and other people is so that we can network, find other people in your own departments who are doing similar modules and so on. And I think it will really help you. So make use of today, interact with everyone. Don't leave here without talking or making contact with anyone or the staff members in here. So I think for now, I'll just leave it there. But then my message is make sure that you understand the module, the outcomes, read all these projects before you can decide on which one to be. Consult. Some of you are completing, others might be starting, and you might get a mentor. So it will be good to hear from others how they have done it or how they are doing it. So this is all that I can say, but I have some stuff which I will share with you. And I will also leave my email address and for the workshop. So anytime you need something or you need another workshop, I can share the date on the workshop will take place, or refer you to the previous workshops that we did that.
Yeah.
And I think that will help. So yeah, I think we have a lot to think about in doing the research proposal and thank you.
Without further ado, let us welcome Dr. Karen Sander, and she's from the College of Technology and Management Sciences, and strangely enough, the students are very close to you. Ladies and gentlemen, if
it's actually good that we do on it. Because with the problem that I'm company. So in this specific module that is like, they are using human centered. So they are not doing it very linearly, and the research is never supposed to be a linear process. So the moment you think you can do things, step one, step two, step three, or doing something wrong. Doesn't work like that. Sometimes going forward actually means deleting everything. And then you need those. And this is why I say it's the crazy world of this. Human-centered design is a totally different process than the normal So we look at the research before we start writing
Use it.
things later. So, and if we look at research, before we start anyway, it's important that you understand what research is, and you need to understand all the different terms that you want. Doctors, you don't need to use terms like quantitative. If you don't know what this is, you're not going to follow along. Right? And that's why it's important to go and read. And a lot of postgraduate research is about how good you are at sitting on one place, behind the screen, and read. Right? And then you realize, okay, you've been reading the wrong thing, and then you find a new thing to read. Or you have been reading something that is especially boring. So you should not be reading into that direction. You should be going into something that is interesting. And maybe other methods that might make sense to anyone, except probably from James, I understand. But for me, some of the things just go out of my head. So if we look then at the different key stages in research, and if we want to plot it linearly because we do like it, we start with the topic and we do the literature, and then we go to the proposal and the ethical clearance, and we collect data and analyze, write it up, spend it, and we get everything. Great. Okay. It doesn't really work that way, but it's okay. This is why I like 2 to 3 years to do. And I do say, and at uni, so we need to be able to do a postgraduate diploma on honors degree in 1 year. And it's better to do your modules first. And why? Because you need to understand the way it is. Because we tend to forget and we go over it using all these words. And we're trying to translate, and that's a good use, and it will use for AI though. Just plug the transcript in, if you don't understand the English I'm using. Fancy transport, Google French, German, whatever you want to, and I actually want it. Okay, so you can go to the next one. So what if, just one thing, there are a lot of students that fail. And it's because of a lot of factors that are listed later. But I think the first thing is that we must understand the whole process of the research. And we don't go for my students don't read before they read at 101. It's not really for decorative purposes. It's actually there for you to go and look at. So we would go to understand the research process. I said, speaking a little bit earlier. You need to understand that you have to write a research proposal in most subjects, not my module. So we're not going to, let me just clarify today, I'm not speaking about HR class activity. We do things totally different. This is business management. We don't think in a box. For the rest, you listen. Okay, so in the process, you need, in the normal process of doing academic research, you need to enter the field. You need to find the problem that with solving and a solution can actually mean something. And the two need to speak to each other. If the problem is, why is the sky blue? The answer can't be because the floor is black. I examined the multiple specification this morning while I was taking there. And the problem they had, and the question they had in chapter 1, and the solution they came up with, they were speaking. All about what happens. Nice big difference, right? So watch out that when you start this, that you understand how you do it. And that you understand when you identify a problem, you have to solve that problem. Okay, and then there's a few different things that you can be doing in the research. You can have different artifacts. You can write a paper, and write a mini dissertation, and a thesis. So the paper is even shorter version of a mini dissertation. Probably normally 25 pages from beginning to end. Mini dissertation, 50 pages. A dissertation is more masters and then a thesis is a PhD. There are word count limits. When you find it, which document? Tutorial later 101. Okay. Next part. Okay. So all of you, before we go to this, you have a topic for your reason. You have an idea of what's interesting. Yes. You have something that's interesting. What's interesting?
So I'm trying to see the different internationalization strategies that universities employ. The conflict with us. So my topic so relates to internationalization strategies of universities, basically the field of conflict regions and what informs internationalization strategies.
Okay, so in international business,
International relations, but in higher education, so it's add-on.
okay. So you do get international business and business management also. So then you go to the Uppsala model for internationalization process, but that's totally different. But that also brings you to psychic distance we were talking about it. So we are here today, and yesterday I had PhD students, a little bit more distributed than you guys. I have one in Kenya, I have one in Nigeria, and I have another one in Botswana, so we had a Teams meeting. And I have a new WhatsApp group, and they are now 3 study buddies. I didn't know that yesterday morning, but today. Okay. And there is a reason for that. They meet, and this is also why in HR Buzz agency we have the group, and people speak to each other, and they answer each other's questions. So I don't have all that. Because I've told them from the beginning how to do the first assignment. You can ask him. How many times have they asked how to do the first assignment? Like 10 times every day, even print right there on WhatsApp. Anyway, but they still ask. Okay. So I think you have a topic. It's quite interesting. Why that topic?
I work in international relations and relations to the international defense department. And I've and while working in this space, I do research grants. I try to find valuable students to bring international exchanges, vice versa. But I found that with international, when it comes to academic freedom in conflict regions, universities technically don't want to take a stance, especially the one I work for. They don't want to support with researchers in Israel or Ukraine or Russia. And usually the universities in the West inform what we should do in the Southern region in terms of who we should work with and why. When we have our own conflicts in the region and we have our own allies as well who we want to partner with and who we wouldn't want them to do academic research with. So all of that, those nuances and debates that are currently happening in international relations and education have made me want to pursue and look at the lens. But I want to do a comparative study between Israel and Palestine and also look at Ukraine and Russia and what informs the West to choose the side of Ukraine within that war and why we've chosen Palestine and why it's still wrong for us to choose to work with Palestine. And with youth funding, technically what happens is if you tend to work with a partner that you don't want you to work with, they tend to cut off some of your funding. And this has been happening. So yeah, I'm interested in it, but
It's a mouthful. This is for
honest, yes.
Okay. All right. Let's come back to this, but it's kind of interesting. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to use you as a little bit of an example. So you're also going to understand the beginning of it. That was talking about. Where's the support services? What's the support services? You will act as support services now. So that is very admirable. Right? It sounds like a very interesting topic. Why do we or even a master's degree, but it's or honors degree, don't even go there. Okay. First of all, you want to get ethical clearance for that thing because you also get funding. And then you're doing it because you perceive a problem. And you perceive a problem in the real. Here when we are standing and we can touch things. And there's two different worlds happening. You need to get the problem in literature. So while you think you might have a problem, when it is likely that it is a problem that you are experiencing because you are there, probably not something that I can't say yes or no, right away, that would be articulated the way you or have done it. We go to the next slide. A few things, and I've got a few slides, and I hate that it's slides, but okay, so the first thing that you need to consider when you look at your research topic is what is the university requirement. So, and that's Tony spoke to it earlier. So, in your specific module, in your field, what do they want? What is the outputs that the lecturer wants? Because at honors level, it is still what the lecturer wants. When you get to master's and doctoral level, it's more of a good. The supervisor doesn't have so much control over that thing. Alright, so in common, and then my students last year came up with I don't know how, with topics in the medical field. I don't know how they ever thought they would get away with it, but because I don't know anything about the medical field. And that's the other thing. You need to get the supervisor that can supervise the topic in the field you are studying. So if you are doing commerce, you're not going to go studying something in pediatrics because you don't get supervisors that can do it. Okay. Then, what is the originality and requirements? This is quite an important one, and it also grows bigger as you go. PGDip, okay, just to clarify, PGDip normally doesn't have a lot of research, very small component. Honors has a little bit more. Masters can be two things, can either be a course based and be a mini dissertation, and then or a full dissertation, and then PhD. So the difference between a master's degree and a PhD is that you actually have to make a theoretical contribution, meaning my interest is practice, the how are you growing strategies practice. Don't grow it, don't get it. Yeah. No. Then you have a descriptive study, not the analytical one. So, and then what's the data requirements? Again, for example, for hydropower, like you guys are doing, you start with data. I have a class ethical clearance that allows you to do it. Some modules will only let you go to literature, because that's what they've got class ethical clearance for. Some of them already have data sets, they can work time, those data sets. So what is your data requirement within the degree that you are doing? We're putting this topic of yours into a honors course. Okay. What's the methodological requirement? Where we are, we've got a combination of pragmatic research. And this are all these weird terms, meaning we take the methods that is practical to solve problem, but you might be in astrophysics, then you have a quantitative approach, or in languages, going to make the assumption that it is more qualitative. Okay. So what is the methodological requirements? And like Doc said, then what is the ethics requirement? For HRBus, you don't worry about it. I've covered that for you. Long as you don't start studying pediatric chemistry. Sure. Then if we assume that you can do any topic, whatever you want to do, you first go to the, you can click on the hyperlink or you can open link. You first go to the research focus areas of your department. So it's specific for master's and doctoral degrees, but normally honors students plug in entities. It's one for each and every college, right? They tell you within this, you can do research in which area, right? So in business management, you get strategist practice. You have supervisors in strategist practice. You don't necessarily have so many supervisors in international business that we would have in strategist practice. So it's important to me to go see what are the supervisors wanting to do. Unfortunately, we cannot direct those, but a lot of the time things into what we are talking. Like I said, I cannot advise. I have no idea how it. Then the next one that you need to make sure of, and so look at is the catalytic niche areas. There's also a link to the catalytic niche areas. We have 10 of them. And I'll show you how I think is a very good way to integrate it. Except if you are already within the medical field, within astrophysics, within marine studies, and the links also there are shared. And then go to order 1111. And I keep on saying this because I have realized that we did research project and business management now for the last 10 years. Students don't speak the order 1111. We spent weeks creating that to help you read it. Okay. And then think. Now look how systematic literature is in Bible. What on earth is that? I had one on my computer by Job office. Now I'll just explain it. So what academics do, they go through all the papers on a specific topic, they put it in a very nice, systematic, copyable, or replicable. I can write the word, I don't say it. So you can copy it, right? One, and then we say, this is a summary of the field. And these are the gaps that you have to fill. And that is where you get your academic research problem in one of those articles. Or if you're very good, you look for 3 of those articles and you link it up to 3 people saying, you have to understand why the tiles are black. And then nobody can say, so what? Because I've got 3 people that already say, this is the problem. Okay. Now, go. So you need to go look for systematic factors that says it's actually the problem. Okay. Next one. So, like I said, if you implement something, it's not necessarily good enough. Okay. So, the next thing you need to understand now, you understand this little box you encounter. You need to say, is this actually something I want to do the whole day? This method that I'm choosing. Do I want to stand around with my head in a box, looking at little creatures running around, or do I want to go speak to people because this is the time commitment? And if you don't like sitting with your head in a little fume box the whole day, choose a different methodology because it gets very boring very quickly. Right? So choose something that you want to do for 3 to 7 years. If it doesn't interest you and if it becomes boring very quickly, change the topic. Nobody's going to scream at you if you change the topic. Okay. All right. So then, or importantly, when you go into a honors degree, we prepare you to do a master's degree. When we go into a master's degree, we prepare you to do a PhD. So we're kind of pushing you into a tunnel, and we want you to go into a PhD. But when you go into it, you need to kind of get a niche. So where do you want to position yourself so that you become an expert when there aren't too many other people? So look for your competitive edge. Because in the end, you want to be a graduate that is employable. You don't just want to be another person with the same PhD that can't do something unique and wow. So try and get that from the onset, from your honors. Look for something that makes you excited, that you want to do, and it's going to give you something nice. Yeah. Then you sit and you read, and you read, and you read. And then when you're done with that, you read some of it. And this job, they're very good at showing you how to read. And why I say that, for the specific module that I see, I always tell students and I'll still tell you that you need to read about 120 pages to be able to make an informed or make an informed decision or opinion about something. And remember, you have no opinion until the conclusion paragraph in your thesis or paper. Your opinion never gets better. Okay. Like that about the paper, what other people say, and only here in the end you can say, oh, this is my paragraph, my opinion. Okay. But before that, you read. So why do you read? So you need to be informed. You need to be able to critically evaluate and ask critical questions. Okay? So if you don't accept things at face value. So, and I know how many of you have some sort of AI app on your phone. I have 4. Stop lying. My goodness. Right? So you can go chat and find in the other day. Cancel my subscription. Keep on lying. You can go to Gemini, you can go to anyone, and you can find, yes, all these interesting parameters. Write a research report. 30 seconds later, 20 pages of code. But you won't know it because you haven't read 120 pages to critically analyze it, and you leave all your long dashes in, and you get the zero. And you're like, my God, why did I get the zero? It was so nice. No, it was I wrong, right? And that's very important. You need to do the hard work yourself so that you know when AI goes. And it does. ChatGPT, there's a link, I'll share it with you now. Watch it on your own time. Where, and I won't give you a question now, will generate references using people that are very influential in the field surnames. And if you click on the DRI, when is this? Oh, you know, it's a mistake.
No.
Yes. So you won't know that if you don't do
It's something, not a question, like a statement. But I did my honors at UWC 4 years ago, during the pandemic, and AI wasn't as sophisticated and advanced as it is now. So the research that we had to do, the coursework that we had to do, that had to come from you. And now, with AI being as advanced as it is, I don't indulge AI at all. Like my mom and my family, everyone is like, I don't know why. But like, I didn't want to. But now I'm in a situation where AI is a thing, and having to use it as the resource, but then also having to admit using it. Like that's horribly because I never had to use it before. So 4 years ago, well, that's a long time ago. But I feel like that was a lot more meaningful than what I'm going to be. I guess.
okay, but people get to that. I don't that way. It might things why more. So you can do things with them, but you need to get on that level. I don't like. I think I've had my own little PGDip for the module that students can use, and it will not write stuff for you. It will ask you questions. Why? Because you need to go and look for the answer. If you don't give it the answer, it can't think. It's so they will just ask you another question. Okay, so we'll get to AI now. But yes, AI is just making things way more efficient. But you still at honor level, make sure guys you do it yourself. Get there, take the path, read down the 20 articles, because that's the only way that you will know the difference between what's right and what is not. Because my English from here is not. So I'm very good. The words. Oops, but you don't understand. Next slide. So, different AI tools that you can use. See, a lot of these that I do actually not generative. The different AI tools. Like I say, I'm fired. Why it's very nice and it's good for writing novels, but don't trust it. Okay. Illicit, on the other hand, is a very nice AI tool that you can use. And it does help you refine your research solution a little bit. So once, and I'll show you a little bit a few tricks and stuff. But illicit, you can type your research question in. And I use strategy topics because that's, where I am. And you can type it in, and if you use the report function, it will help you understand right a little bit, right? This question that you have here is good in your mind, but it's actually not so researchable. So for the question to be researchable, there's different requirements. You need to kind of see that there's a methodology around it. You need to see if there's a population that counts. And unless it gives you options to play around to see, okay, if I add the population, what will a research question look like? And those three questions we see there are actually questions that came from taking my question and plugging it into the lesson. So it does help you understand it, but you can't come to the red board. And I did put the small in yellow because I want to caution you on something also specifically in economic management probably. If you can't get to the red board without reading. Right. Then why put small in yellow is there's an assumption, and you all heard this the term, but who doesn't know what it is? Not the weird one in physics, the normal one. It's small, medium, and micro enterprises. We group them all together in economic and management sciences, and that's a very horrible generalization to make. Because a micro enterprise doesn't have so many resources as a medium one or even a small one. So my big beef is an SME. Either a small one, or a micro one, or a medium one. Don't group them together. But that you only know if you read the literature. So watch out for jumping straight to AI. Okay, friends, a tool to get to the literature, which is also AI, you can trust it a little bit more, is called consensus. So consensus goes to all the open source literature, and you put your question in, and it kind of tries to answer it. It actually wants you to ask a yes or no question, so it can say yes or no, and then tell you why. Consensus is a very nice little tool to help you in the procedures. Again, it's not the beginning and the end of everything that we're trying. Next tool. The new thing, so we, my generation, we like Google Scholar. We got Google Scholar. Google Scholar now has Google Labs. The only thing with Google Labs doesn't save your search history. You need to create a dump folder on your desktop and dump everything in there. Copy and paste and keep it. Because if you go out for lunch and come back and your kid press the button, your whole search is gone. But it is in Google Scholar. And then another nice one that you can use is also called Firespace. Then the librarian list, but we have somehow list at the back. They had a wonderful database of scholarly research called Web of Science. Right? She'll show you where to find it. In there, they have got a nice research assistant. You can ask that research assistant your research question, and it will within the body of knowledge pull all the relevant papers, like Google Labs, and tell you why is it relevant. Then you still also put that in your dump folder. So important thing is a dump folder, because you put all the articles that you think you have to read in the dump folder. Next. Get the floor now. So, once you have your dump folder, there's different techniques on how to synthesize all these articles. You can use the AI. Two nice ones using Claude and Notebook LLMs. Put it in, and it helps you understand what's going on. And you'll get to some sort of topic. So, if we get to this topic, that actually just says that the phrasing on the place, if I put a different trigger in that place, then people will do that. So that's the academic way of saying it. If you then take that topic, that must start. If it doesn't, stop. Okay, next one. Okay, so if you have your life topic, you will kind of break it down into different key terms. And this is where I think we link up to the calculated niche areas. Except if you are in a specific field where you want to do price, right? You go to the calculated niche areas, go to the next slide. I think that is okay. And you use them as context. Now, what is context? Is the place in which you are going to do it. I highlight the yellow one because business management has got, and you will only know this when through the research focus area, they actually have a women feminist research focus area as well. So you can link that up. So use this because the university it has got a lot of drive behind studies in the calculated niche area. So how? This will help you summit, it will help you gain diversity, link up with calculated. Okay. Now, if you want to know about research, you can watch Dr. Andy's Stapleton. It's very funny, very effective. I'll show you quickly a video. If you want somebody more serious about it, different personalities. Dr. Johannes, then the grad coach is very American. And then from CPUT, Prof. Johannes from here has got a nice way of going through the research proposal. And then also College of Graduate Studies also has different courses that you can use. So if you tackle the first thought, then finding the topic. So I all speak about how to find the topic, and basically what I told you now is how to find the topic. Then we can quickly go to AI because I've got a whole course. We go to the next slide on AI research. So like I said, so it's all different tools that you can use. We also need to much. So you want to go to different tools that are there. Invested Consensus, Google Labs, I forgot the name, then Undermined, and there is so many of them. You go and you look for any articles related, put it in a long folder, go to Notebook LLM, and I wanted to actually show you an example. So what it actually does, and we also use it for the module, it takes your papers and it then breaks it down into a mind map. So it helps you structure your reading. So it says, okay, in these 30 papers that you can upload for free, you start reading here. And then if you click on it, it will open that paper. If this one leads to this one, it's the same with the research rabbit. Driving down the rabbit, you put the seed paper, the Greek paper, using the contribution in research rabbit, you click on it and it will open a map. Infinite. So you click here, going forward, these are the articles, going back, these are the articles. So that's how you understand it. And that's why I say it's just more effective way. And
I tried to activate it, but then. Oh, next slide.
now, I think you can click on the YouTube link.
I can keep it up. So what YouTube link?
Oh, back. Woo. Okay, with one that's like 3 minutes here.
These are the three ways that you can use AI ethically that people seem to agree on. The first thing is disclose. Elsevier has said this: authors should disclose the manuscript and the use of AI, and a statement will appear in a published work. That could be in the acknowledgement section, that could be in the method section, wherever you are using AI. The second thing is no manipulation. What it says, Gen AI tools does not be used to create, alter, or manipulate original research data and results. That they are super easy
just don't use it to cheat. I don't know why this one's in there, but no AI authors, that's strange. Nature says large language models such as ChatGPT do not currently satisfy the authorship criteria. So you can't be ChatGPT echo.
So if you need the UNISA policy is not out yet, it's simply similar to that. So if you go back to
We're a bit of a cheeky AI.
I told you if you like to find cheeky way of understanding these things. Okay, so we have the policy is in the process, right? And especially for generative AI, right? With your data, especially data, guys. Your data belongs, it's people's opinions. It might have people's names in or ethical clearance. So the moment you put it into the AI, you don't have control of what the AI does with that. So don't put it in there. Do not use it to fabricate evidence. Meaning, and I've had this and I've filed students because we see it. Do not use it to generate interview transcripts and don't do that. They do that. Students actually do it. They're saying, we have to do an interview, here's the questions, do 20 interview transcripts. Right. That is wrong even before now. Right? So there's certain things that you have to do, and those three are there. And you will have to disclose how you used it. But as if you keep control and you don't plagiarize, so what plagiarism? When do you plagiarize? Okay, so you use somebody else's work and act. So their ideas and their thoughts, you don't actively do them. Right? So if I take AI and I just copy and paste from there, remember it can't be an author. No, spell this idea. You plagiarize. So it can help you with, and if you go further into it, they can help you with the readability and the writability, and you can use Grammarly, and you can even use the generative AI to edit a little bit, like keep your voice. But watch out for it doing your thinking, because it doesn't think. AI can never think. If you take a sheep and you put it in front of an AI and tell it to shave the sheep, you never tell it that it has a head. The whole bird will be shaved with fluffy heads because it can't think, because you never told it it has a head. Okay. So it can just take a lot of words and put them all together and make it sound nice. Okay. Next one. The policy will be out at the middle of the Okay, so what's the spice? There's a policy coming out on how, when, and what you can use AI for in UNISA, but it's similar to that. And then reference. RefWorks, we pay for. You do courses on RefWorks. I do courses on RefWorks. I initially thought it was a good idea to make honor students manually reference, because you need to learn that you need to put commas and points in different places depending on the type of referencing style. And then I thought that's because it is work RefWorks. Okay, so it's outdated. But I don't know why we don't have just one universal file. That's a different point. So, and we guys at RefWorks at UNISA use RefWorks. So take your dump folder and dump it into RefWorks. It will create a nice little citation folder, and it's got a plugin in Word, and you can just type and cite and type and cite. Don't forget to do that. And then you don't steal other people's ideas. Next slide. So get back. Okay, I don't think this is for now. This is for later. Thank you. We'll stop there. You cannot have to go through the slides. We'll do it later. Good job. Guys,
Right, thank you, Dr. Collins, for that. We are ending kind of, or we are almost to the end of our program. Right? We from the Cape Flats and against 4 o'clock. Just you just want to sleep. Right. We're going to invite Tommy again, and he's going to co-present this with Dr. Stadler, right? And what I am going to do after the session, right, is to provide, I think you all signed the attendance register to student numbers. So I'm going to send all the slides to you. And then you can also start making your points. Because I think that one thing about research is, and it's true that what Colin said, once you start thinking, and you gave a wonderful example, once you start thinking on a different level world, the physical world, I think it won't kind of sit well with the scientific side. Because I've found that inflections, for example, inflections, you always say how they feel. And I wanted to say that they make me feel. Psychology, you can tell me how they feel. But what they want to see is academic reflections, is what do you learn from yourself? Or course or modules. But if you want to feel, go to psychologists, psychiatrists, or therapists, or opinions. But with that said, we are going to move on to bridging the open distance e-learning gap and the postgraduate student dialogue and peer networking. Just bear in mind or know that even for uncertain after this very last session, that you are able to get a hold of us for a one-on-one consultation or for a group consultation. If a lot of you got a problem with the problem statements, how to have a framework, because that is your input questions. I think the research questions and aim and overarching questions, all of that, reach out and we sit together because the data is super constructed. John Edwards at the back used to say, if there can be wind, there can be a storm or anything, but once you got your structure, you put something to fall on, right? Let's sort your structure out, and then you can play around with this AI things and add a little bit of meat to it without getting into trouble. But we'll sort it out if we need to do that, right? So with that said, over to you.
Can I have in the meantime, let's post it on. Ladies. Get your arms, your legs. I see others want to go for the chest legs, it's fine. Then quickly it's the source. This is a session now, it will be very interesting. And I also need 2 volunteers. I think I'll leave because you need the big one. It's only mine. Any volunteer? That's going to get for those. Just to say.
This piece of this. What? I think that it's in 9 out of 10 situations. I say that.
Say the other. Oh, that's right. Yeah, when we start the second one.
So, let's side. That's 3 years by and it's one of them, but if you watch that, you think of me and one and it's oh, zero in that's it. But they need bicycles. And let's say for the and then guys here and that's open field conversion. Actually, exploring and I think part of the span of the person who
Ladies and gentlemen, there's some people still on holiday break, so we better just start with the people and stuff.
So it's still not bad thing.
Right, people, welcome back. Entering the great world great shift station. Hello. And we're going to start out with us to just how say to school. Because we really want to show you the we can add one space. Just something that I understand. Right, so we're going to give it over to Greetings for Ministers, e-learning academy, postgraduate student dialogue in English. And we're just waiting for Charlie if we started here because we just want a presentation up.
Which presentation, Dr. Malik?
Tony's, yeah. So, I'm just FY.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. In here,
Yes, it is.
to everyone, so we want to hear from you. So this is supposed to be a demo. And it's a kid that student engagement and not here, but I think this is what we need to do. So I think we need to bridge this gap through a demo. Like I said, listening to everyone, now Jonathan, we need to listen to hear challenges, the barriers that are there, so that we can start to design programs, that can bring solutions to your challenges. So we don't want to be a university that design interventions for you, but we want to do it with you so that you can address impact. You can move to the next slide. So we are really going to make you the next slide.
Oh, just give me a second, please.
So yeah, it's not a formal session. So feel free. Okay, some downloads there. I just want to don't issue.
Tell me where you know.
That's it.
Oh, is it Dr. Chair?
Us, now us. Because we don't know what will come out from you. We believe, that there should be that psychological safety, for participation. So I think it's important that we acknowledge our vulnerabilities and we listen to each other without judging. And yeah, we are empathic ability, so we believe that we will make this collective sense making so that we address and find strategies to address your challenges. So now you are honor students, postgraduate students, postgraduate diploma students, you are studying at a distance. And while judging work, business, church, side hustles, and many, many other things, we just need you to talk to us, because these are things that affect your progression. We should talk about attrition, and these are the things that take a lot of you, to make it. Maybe let me just be informal, but we talk about time management issues, right? Time management issues. It's difficult for you to plan your time accordingly because of a lot of competing things that are coming up. And it will also end up, like Dr. Karen said, last minute now, you go through these AI tools, and it's a challenge. So just open it up to you, what challenges do you experience in terms of time management, and how can we get solutions? How can we, as Western capabilities, assist you to deal with these time management issues? Open, make sure that before you leave today, you have said something. Thankfully. So this is your session.
During my undergraduate, I've never experienced any problems with my abilities. But now, since my registration, now I've been able to access my study material. If it's not my password, is not set, and I've been struggling today, I've been able to access my study material.
Thank you. So you are having difficult to start because everything now is online on my visa, and we communicate with you through this My Life email. Anyone who's having similar challenge, anyone who knows how to go about it? Let's guide you.
I had some problems. I came here 10 minutes late to sort someone. There was a very clever guy here that helped me with it. So
10 minutes is all it takes. Yes, so the answer is
yeah, very close.
If you can't come in person, you're most welcome to arrange a consultation with us. If I just tell you, if you don't mind me acknowledging this student, it's traveled all the way from Quebec to be at this workshop. I think she deserves a round of applause. Can also arrange consultations with us. You should all have the Office 365 package. It comes with your student admission. And we can facilitate any sort of session with you on my MS Teams. Yeah. So that might even be less than 10 minutes.
Yeah. So before you go out today, just 5 minutes to make sure that you consult, and that will be something. Office 365, you go and buy a laptop. There's no need for you to purchase MS Word, MS Teams, and all that. We are giving you for free the whole package, updated package. So don't go out there and buy the Microsoft, what. Everything is for free as long as you are registered. So you see, sometimes you think you have a problem, but there are solutions, and that's why you are here. So that one is solved.
This application is needed in a way that you are able to download. Is there a way that you are able to download the material or feed it into the website instead of going to everything in the PGDip? So I said, I'm actually trying to be done. So we say whether the entire course from system we can download and we can get it from there. But we also find out these are some tools. I don't know if you will provide me so that I can download, but I mean the articles, the questions, everything else. If they know where to find things. Yeah.
Where's the mic? Oh, we need.
Can you go there, log in, show here?
And then I had another question also. There's also, I'm not sure about it's all over the place, but there's virtual linguistics. We are there's an article that will be related to me, but it's not active, so we're not able to see into it. So something is still connection about it, just for scholars in the library. But if anyone knows what subject I'm talking about, it's that one. And what we have is and then also mentioned that under my modules, the law section, I think it's the recent thing that's the good idea that we can access. I don't have a binder. So I wrote about there is an email address, I think that's that. I just want to make over here. So that's it.
So Dr. Karen was talking about the planning folder, and she wants to know if it's possible, to download all of this thing from my Lisa into this planning folder.
Okay. My question, my saying is like, we say that everything is on my live name, but when you check, you realize that some modules have not been uploaded. And now to the case of coming from George to here, you're just driving for this, you're like, you wish you can get everything as soon as possible. So in a small campus, they will tell you that no, you have to do it on your home, but here you're just saying that I can do it here. I have been struggling with everything since I'm in George. I even decided to send an email to the legend, and he said that I can get everything to my library. But when you check there, there's nothing. It's only now that I went to the library while we were busy doing the presentation, and they told me that no, there's no assignment at the moment, you can wait. So it's a struggle.
Okay, let's hear it from the horse's mouth with the back.
I don't think, unfortunately, I think they can start it down. You can email the lecturer or I probably do have so we have to go to the theme approach. So we do have a whole pack of Word documents that isn't quite as nice formatted that we can possibly share with students. So you can, but it would depend from person to person. I don't mind to share things, but people do.
That's also what you can do. And I know a lot of people shy away from that. Here with disability, they have a range of technologies that maybe you can benefit from them. So if you have time, I think in Western here they also have some labs there. Technology. So maybe you can go there, check if they can help you with them. And I believe they can.
I didn't get the last one.
The disability unit, where you could get recording of audio transcripts of the slides, where or they still happen with later, or they are about.
They closed it for, but I mean from Cape Town. And my an appointment was here. And you've also mentioned something about our regional portal. Said something about the Western Cape. And remember Grant said, if you can't access it, you can write an email to us and we will, our email receives in fact, and you said that IC.ZS, we will give you access.
I've also handed out the 2 rows here. We're going to try and find more cards. Yeah, we'll try and find more cards. I've handed out the little facilitation of learning or regional support services business card. If you look at the back of that card, all our email addresses are.
But that email identity Cape Town CPN PUP translated and it should be. When it comes to sites not being populated, someone like this here, what is like we're not supposed to be going on to be in it's separate, it's site not populated. So if the site is not populated, go on the ELISA website, look at the department you are, and send the email to the CRD site. The item class 83 is not populated. I'm sure Prof. Boyle will fall on his back. But then he will contact me and the site will be populated quite quickly, I'm sure. So it shouldn't be like that, but unfortunately it does happen.
What field of it's not a translation, applied to business and
I'll give that to you.
I just remember that start, I'm trying to clear all the everything that you do.
You know how easy it is to find the article.
So I did find an article, but I wanted to put that on. People basically that is ugly and then she advised and child with the variety, but just.
So but let me tell you how to do it. Go to Google Scholar. Alright? Go to Google Scholar. Copy the title of the article. Paste it into Google Scholar. It will come up. Right? It will give you. Or go to Summon. So you go to the UNISA library, and then there's a Summon is that little search box in the library. Put the title in there. Search button. It will open up. It will just click and it's free. Remember, I promise you this. Except for rare crisis and census, again, like medicine journals and things that we don't really do at the UNISA. You don't have to find for any articles. We have one of the biggest libraries in Southern Africa. We don't pay for things that we say we really pay for. So those, just put it into Summon, it will get it out. You have the article, you can check. When you get it, it's a 9 assignment with authors every year. And this is why I say manually. Because then you will see the journal 9, if you look at any reasons for that one, you will see the first part with the name and or the initial and surname, then the year, then the title, then the journal name, so the journal of production or whatever, and then the volume name and page number, even the issue. So just check if it's the same or not. But that's the easiest way, then you don't worry. And we're not allowed to share the hyperlinks because the article belongs to the journal. But you have to go and download it yourself because they count the downloads that happen. We pay for it. So it's also why they consent.
Still on the library, she is very right. No, you don't have to pay. Make sure that you attend the library trainings, even on Google Scholar. They will show you how to do your settings as a user student. And there's no way you will have to pay for library. So watch out for this, for those library training in the Western Cape region, in our colleges, as well as the sessions.
I wanted to add to that, Tanya, our first session next Wednesday for PGDip and Honors will include library. So they will also talk them throughout that. I think we just need to be fair now to the participants because I think there was a question here. Somebody here that has asked. Spoken something about Telegram. Do you want to use the mic?
No, I was just for your question, I was gonna say the library and also if you want Telegram or the groups, usually files and articles is very download. No, you search for the groups or there is a search for just put in the go to the module and then the module.
Yeah, so before you go, make sure that you connect with them and you like that.
I just want to make sure that your modules are sorted now. You can see it on my visa. That specific module that is now.
At the moment, it's only one. I'm doing 3 subjects, but at the moment, I have only one that has been uploaded, but the assignment is still not there.
Okay, so I can also tell you the strategy behind that. So I've done, like I said, I've been taught research project for a few years now. I've tried different ways of doing it. So why they do that? They want to, first of all, avoid people sitting together because that happens, except in group work. Sitting together and doing assignments together and then submitting an assignment. Because what happens, it flags plagiarism, and they also want to kind of pace your learning. So they want to kind of say, okay, do this. Once you've completed this lesson, it will open the next tab. So it's this teaching strategy that they use. For me, for example, everything is on there, but you still can't do microdata because it requires different groups to work together. And I try to pilot your learning through Wednesday evening classes in brown bags. So it depends from the type of module and also the different types of personalities that I actually teaching.
So before you go, say, make sure that you have groups of contact with the emails. I believe the active will to assist you even when you are in charge.
Okay, I see it here and then there. Yeah.
Question is about places on the library. Time to plans or outside. I think also lots of work. So I'm going to be sitting with something on the weekend, want to do some research. Because you have to wait till Monday, office hours before I actually put something in the library. And I'm going to access the library platform. Just not going to do my function.
I can also answer, you can answer, the library is open 24 hours. You can go on the platform any time of the day. They also work office hours. I also work office hours, unfortunately. But you also have subject expert librarians. So they are also on call, but I want to say in business management, for example, the subject expert librarian will not help you do your research. She's been instructed not to. Because that's part of the learning as an honest student. You need to find your own information. Otherwise, what happens if the librarian, finish studying and have to do research for work? They're not going to have to look for it. You need to know how.
Now you need to know how to use this, search strategies and how to navigate the website and also to know what you are looking for. So you need to ask yourself questions like, what is it that I want? And then type in your question and then you will find the right answer. But if you're not focused, especially when you are doing a exam or something, and maybe a research report or research methodology, then you have to use a lot of options. Let's try to use our website. 24 hours available. You can just go on it. And you can even use a module code search. You know what your module code is, right? It is the course code. It's the module code. So you can do that online as well. If you're struggling to search for articles, but not articles, but for especially books and your e-reserves. For some of the subject fields doing e-reserves, the e-reserves only is it is reserved for that specific module code. That specific articles are reserved for all the students as well as doing education. Foundation phase or whatever. When they put in the module code, they will find it like ENG 1305 or something like that. So they will find the reserved articles. And sometimes we'll also find the links to the prescribed books. So there's e-books as well. There's no need to struggle, but if you really struggle, send us an email, but we are open only from 8 till 4, Monday to Friday, because we were open after hours for the working students, and they didn't teach. And then they asked, can you be available on a Saturday? We can be on a Saturday and work from 8 to 1. No, they teach. So then when that happens, you decide to spend that much money on us to eat, and then students don't come. But they do ask for the service and the migration service. That's why it was against.
That's it.
Oh, yeah. I need it, but I also put it. Well, I just want to say, so if site or like that, my body was to start populating. That's not an issue with the site itself. That's fine. The person who's assigned the lecturer provide content. And then, another question. Will there be like a common area or something beside, I don't know, this part of the first graduate conference that you're going to show us later on. That's available like after hours, we'll be able to kind of study, do assignments or something like that, or does everything need to happen like?
I would like to respond to that, Karen. I would like to respond to that because I want to link it to what Romina just said now about services being made available to students. And we have for years, for example, had an extended library services project. In fact, we appointed 2 fixed-term contractors to support students and students did not teach. So I want to link it to what you're asking, sir. We have a postgrad commons that will be made available to students. And we will make it available after hours as well, even over weekends. Our security has been briefed about on a Saturday and a Sunday. You can come in we know that all of us have the same kind of spaces at home. We have young children or other family members sharing our space, and we need a quiet space just to concentrate on your studies. You can come to our campus. And why am I linking it to what Malina said? If that space is not going to be used, we will have to close it down. Okay? And secondly, we are in phase 1 of looking at that space. We have now just literally cleaned up the space for you. We have gone to universities across most universities. In fact, we have one university still to go to where we want to benchmark to see what our contact universities doing to accommodate their postgrad students. What do those spaces look like? So that we can also align to that. But we can't go into phase 2 if we can't prove to our management, the people who sign off on the budget, to say to them, but we have a space and look how our students are demanding access to that space. So there's one venue available now. In a few months' time, we must actually request a second venue because the one venue is not too small, because our students are responding to them. But the opposite is also true. Converse is also true. If you're not taking use of that space, you unfortunately will have to close it. I'm making sense to this. So the space will be available to you, and we are going to show you how the space looks like.
Sorry, John, just for the students as well, the space does have free Wi-Fi. So if you need to do your searches and download and do your dumps, as Dr. Sando said, then come and do that here so that you can go home with the reading material. Or sit here and study, do your researching.
Yeah, so those are the benefits for postgraduate students, which are that you use this.
Five comments over.
I want to share with you, since we decided like the STEM administration, if there is any system for accountability of the appeals, because sometimes it takes 2 months to get response from the user, especially candidates and those applications. So I want to know if there's any accountability system that is in place that put those guys responsible, because we do something when we request points, and I put application last year, but it was approved on the 27th of March. Then the resolution I think was going to be starting on the video side, but I got quickly that I got accepted on the 27 case that there's some functions in it making in a way in terms of accountability.
I just want to ask if you guys on your computer labs, do you have softwares for engineering students? Because sometimes you find out that you are using maybe civil design, Ethernet, and MATLAB at the same time, and having all those softwares on your PC, they are very heavy and they tend to slow down your PC. So do you guys have such on the computer, on your computer labs?
We don't have currently, but it's a very, I wouldn't say unique request, but quite a new request that we have from you. So perhaps you can engage us, maybe you can engage me around that, so that I can speak to the college, CSEC, and ask them what is possible. I know they might be visiting, they will be visiting us on the 8th and 9th. So we can maybe look at what is possible.
Because they will normally give us a student version,
Yeah.
but then you have to install it on your own PC.
Yeah, yeah. So please engage me about that. I will follow up and get you a response.
To respond to the internet, yeah, sorry about that. But what they have done now, I know they have made all these details available. So in the past, they used to be just mailbox, but now there are people, behind them, and I can show you, and you can easily see people who are responsible, in finance. And then, yeah, so there is transparency now. You can just email directly to Jack and not through the mailbox. And we think it will address those three challenges. Sorry about the students.
Can I just add to that, students must also just be aware that when they write, like you said, there are specific departments for specific functions, that they write to that department, because you also find that some students tend to copy thousands of people into, and then nobody takes accountability. That's the first question I want to make. The point I want to make. The second point is you must use your MyLife account, and you must indicate your student number in the subject line. Because otherwise, people are not going to respond to your request. But thirdly, and I also want to maybe sticking our neck out here as a region, but what we also are here for is for this kind of issue. And as I said earlier, we might not be able to solve it for you, but instead of you sitting frustrated at home and not getting a response, come to us so that we can also see. Because sometimes I can get onto a line and call somebody, or I can inquire with the COD or to find out why is there a delay. But the point here is, and that's the point of getting you together here, is that you shouldn't be feeling frustrated where you are. And I'm not standing here as the miracle worker. Right? Know that some way, like, yeah, I'm not that person. I'm saying you can come to us and we can see how we can support you to get a solution or answer as soon as possible.
Thank you. Let's take the last question, but that's true. Even if you are frustrated, please don't forget the people. That's the 1% and the goal is gone. Let's take the last one.
My name is my contribution part, the question, and also in my solution, that I think this I can take up. What I've noticed, so of course, I did my undergraduate degree here, and the modules about groups. Even since we are doing financial accounting, they got a group on my university. So the system is set up already. In the group, there is a lecturer who is responsible for the group. So students are required to post questions or whatever they're going through in terms of the module. But here comes the problem. The problem is that when you write a question, okay, should I just say that if you check the attendance or the lecturer who is supposed to be the module, you will see that there are questions in 2017, there are questions that were never attended. So that in itself discourages a student to ask a question, because you will see the question that you want to ask. It has already been asked, it was never answered. So what I can suggest is that we can raise that since we are launches in university, we still have maybe timeline or maybe attendance, maybe every Monday and Friday. They get to be online with the questions for the students. They answer the question. Like every question. On Monday, we know that Monday at 8 o'clock there will be a lecture. On Friday, we get a lecture on the certain modules. The modules are already allocated. We know the groups that we are in, but when we communicate, we don't get access.
Thank you for raising that. I think it will be an issue of the past because now the university is intensifying, bringing people into the academic space. So more lecturers are going into academic space. They've also had adjunct lectures. So they have really, gone off their way to pick up academic stuff. And I think these are the things that they will address. But like, if you are not finding enjoyed, the region is here, you can always reach out to the lecturer. Confident that those challenges will be resolved in 2026 moving forward. The time is up. Maybe let me check. Karen, if you have something.
I don't want to know which groups. I'm trying to figure out where that happens.
Okay, like I said, I haven't heard.
Mm-hmm.
You were grouping like 30 times a lot.
Oh, okay. I know. Okay.
Yes, that's it. When you post the question, you don't understand the decision concept. So you need like data clarification, or you don't understand on the side. And that patient will not get classified. So if you can go on and see the question that we asked.
Okay, I know which groups you are. So what was the purpose of the groups? To do assignments to?
The idea behind the concept was that since the elders did go to see, then so at least it will practice your nature through the groups.
No, it's groups. It's we use them for HR class and speak so that you guys can speak to each other in the groups that are doing research together. I'm also on there, but I don't answer questions on those.
What I'm trying to say is that I answer questions as a student. I think that it's but if I give an answer from another student, they are now confused already the concept of they are not qualified to participate.
So, I hear you. Thank you.
Like on Monday, Friday, that's key for the activity.
So when they use that tool, they should do that. So peer-to-peer learning helps sometimes, especially for example, where students ask administrative questions over and over, and you can just see what the message that was already altered. But that is again unfortunate that happened. I think it was a strategy that they had that I couldn't manage in the end to implement it.
Yeah, on the discussion forums, yes, some, my experience this year, there's been some subjects are more active than others.
Yeah.
Others, it's A-level legislation, the A-levels and difference of art, but some have been so busy, and others who have proper questions aren't there, but there's been no response, so we're teaching them.
They have 48 hours. Let's say over week.
Right, so that concludes postgraduate diploma. John. Yes, I have one closing remarks in the forward. I think it's only actively the professional management of the section. Just do the closing remarks. It can be 2 minutes. I think everyone's excited to have the academic. I believe about 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to take up 2 to 3 minutes because I've been here since morning. I just wanted to thank you for coming from Jamaica, and I'm not sure whether I misunderstood the other gentleman that came from the Thank you so much for taking the effort and the time. And we certainly hope that it has helped you, has contributed, even if you don't feel that it helped you today, that it sort of started something that you can continue. Our ultimate goal with this session was not only to share information with you, but also for you to see the space that we will have available, the resources that we have available in the region. We have 2 of our colleagues from main campus who also shared their resources with you today, but also for you to come to get to know each other. And so I'm hoping, I think the time might have passed for us to do it now, but I'm hoping that as we go to A11, that you will share perhaps details amongst each other so that we can connect with each other. So I also want to then to extend a word of thanks to Dr. Majila, Dr. Stander, for the, I've learned a lot, and I think we can they both deserve a good round of applause. Can be with your passion, with your skill, and we really appreciate it. A program director. And some program. Thank you to Robin. Thank you to Tabo, Wilhelmina, Vicky Lee left now, and our partner who made the welcoming. We really would like to just, and I'm going to ask Robin to maybe lead you right at the back. We are not going to take a lot of time up in A11, but we just wanted to show you the space. But before we do that, we don't have an evaluation form for you. But what we would really like you to do, we do have our cards. Write to us about your experience about today. And what do you think we should do better next time? We would really welcome it. And even if you are at the final stage of your PGDip or your honors, you could help another student who will come to this kind of session next semester or next year. But we will really appreciate your feedback. And don't hold back. Also, groot skills. I'm not sure if you understand Afrikaans, but we have broad shoulders. Don't hold back. Please give us your feedback. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask you now to follow Brandon to A11. We will meet you there and go to the Thank you so much.